or at least the lottery picks, do you want to show the clips?
Yeah, it looks kind of bootleg sometimes. It doesn't have all of them, but we're live now, by the way.
Perfect. Well, what's going
Yeah.
on, everyone? Yeah, welcome back to the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I am here with the main man, Gary. You already know where to find us. But let's get right into it. We're going to do a lottery simulation today, 2-round mock draft. We'll see if we do trades. I'll probably do a few in the first round, leave the second round to be. But
Yeah, we can kind of go through the second round a little quicker. We'll get into more detail in the first round.
So we're gonna do our usual one lottery simulation. Do I hit the Dave Portnoy? Everybody knows the rules. But yeah, we're gonna do that first, and then we're gonna get into the picks. So we'll do our one lottery simulation to see where Brooklyn's pick lands, as well as the rest of the 14 teams that are involved. So let's get it.
All right, you ready? Create
Let's
and
do
view
it.
lotto sim.
Yep. All right.
6.
Scroll down a bit, and then
here.
I was gonna say you got to scroll down and click Sim Lottery.
Yeah, I'm just I have a list here of where we pick. I'm just updating.
Oh, okay.
416, number 6.
We'll see if we move up today or back, but it'll be interesting. I did one last night. I only did one, and we got 2. So we'll see.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. So if you click Sim Lottery right there in orange.
Right here. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see where we land. Drum roll.
3.
We land 3. Nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Houston and Miami in front. What did I say?
The NBA did this one together. Yeah, the NBA did this one.
All right. I mean, this is an interesting spot because I like I said, I'm honestly not a big fan of the 3 spot right now. But hey, we'll work with it.
OKC got 8, no Philly in the top 6.
Beautiful. Yeah. So click use in mock draft, and then we'll get started. We'll make sure that my big board is on here now, so we got that to work. We'll have no mistakes this time. Click on NBA, and then click on your big board, and then we'll be good. Right underneath the orange tab, if you scroll down just NBA. A little bit more.
Yeah.
No. On the right side. Scroll down just a bit more.
More?
Right there where it says NBA, which draft order do you prefer? And then if you scroll down a little bit more where it says your big board, whenever you do a lotto sim, it makes you reset it.
Reset it. All right, I got it.
And then in the blue, we'll start it up. So the Houston Rockets win the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, which is by far
that would be unfair in life if they get Cooper Flag. That would just be unfair.
Hey, this is what happens when Sean Marks makes trades. So yeah, Houston goes ahead and gets Cooper Flag.
That is our pick. Good job, Sean Marks. Good job.
Way to start it off. This would be depressing as hell. Dylan Harper heading to Miami. This is honestly
for 2. Is there anything we can do?
No.
Can we give him Cam Johnson? Can we give him Cam Thomas? Is there anything we can do to get to 2?
Not a single.
If you don't think it's realistic, then we won't.
Not a single thing, unfortunately. They have Hero, who is a primary 2. He's been playing the 1, but I think Harper's a perfect fit. And Harper is just one of those like very few players that would be an incredible Miami Heat prospect.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, if I said this trade, Cam Johnson and the Knicks pick, and 3, so 3 Cam Johnson and the Knicks pick to go from 3 to 2, would you make the trade if you were Sean Marks?
Realistically, you would have to probably give up 3, 20, 36, and a future first.
What if I threw Cam Johnson? That doesn't entice you at all? For Miami?
I don't think they can financially take him.
All right.
Yeah. There's just no realistic avenue I see any team moving back from 1 or 2. It's unfortunately how we're working. And when you have 2 guys of that nature.
I really wanted Harper here now. It's all right.
I know.
It's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, here we go. Harper to Miami. It's a perfect fit. It is by far a perfect fit. So that would be very scary to see how they develop that trio of Harper, Hero, and Bam together.
He doesn't have a highlight reel here. They don't have a highlight reel for the number 2 guy in the draft.
Usually you have to click on the name prior to clicking draft. Yeah. So
he has
third pick.
Yeah.
Right. Third pick.
You want to go with Ace, right?
Yeah, we're going to go Ace here. Again, I'm very 50-50 on this pick. I think it's a very scary pick for Brooklyn. And for many teams, if they select him at 3, simply because of the deficiencies to his game. But at the same time, this is one of the highest upside prospects in this year's class. As you can see by the athleticism, the scoring ability, the shot creation, he is an all-around offensive threat on all three levels of the floor. The defensively and IQ-wise, as a playmaker, needs to get a bit better. But I think under Jordi Fernandez, that's definitely something that could be fixed. I'm not sure how I see the fit between him and Cam Thomas long term. I definitely think that there could be some issues there in terms of just smart, efficient offensive ability between the two. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how they play in their first year together. I would assume they at least get 1 year together before a potential Cam Thomas trade in the near future. But I would definitely love to see Ace in Brooklyn. He was one of my favorite prospects coming into this year's college season. There was a couple of other guys that I've really fallen in love with throughout the draft process as well. But if you land Ace Bailey at 3, I can't be mad at all. Like I said, the only thing that scares me is the floor to ceiling ratio that he brings as a prospect. He could either be a superstar or he could be a role player. So there's really not much in between for him.
All right, I love this pick. This is who I want at 3. The obvious debate is going to be him or VJ. Is it just a fit? Do you like the upside? Why are we taking? I agree, but I'm just asking for an explanation for those listening. Why Ace over VJ?
Yeah, I think it's the better fit, and I think he has more upside. In terms of who's the more NBA ready player currently, it's probably VJ, just because of the defensive ability that he has. Ace has a little bit of struggle in terms of IQ on both ends of the floor, whether that's certain shot selection, playmaking ability, defensive IQ. There's a bit of a mindset issue with him in terms of just the maturity to his game, right? I mean, when you're looking at a draft class that includes Cooper Flagg, you're talking about probably the most mature and high IQ freshman that we've seen potentially ever on the defensive end. Ace is quite literally the opposite. He's very raw in the sense that he has the offensive upside to be a 27 plus point per game scorer in the NBA. But the defensive IQ and the playmaking IQ is definitely something, and the shot selection IQ is just something that definitely needs to be worked on. But again, it really just depends on where he gets drafted. If he goes to a team like Utah or Brooklyn, I can definitely see that being unlocked within him to become a star in this league. If he gets drafted to a team like Washington, Toronto, one of those teams that don't really need a forward or just aren't really good with player development like Washington is, then I can definitely see it being an issue for him long term. But I love the pick.
I want to make a comparison, and I kind of want your take on this. We're talking about low IQ shots, forcing up bad shots. It's just not. He's also 18, and when Pat Mahomes got drafted, the knock on him was he makes really bad decisions with the ball. He forces too many throws, and Andy Reid sat him for his first year, and obviously he's been able to adjust and grow. Texas has a quarterback right now, Quinn Ewers, who's just dumb. He's got overall talent like Mahomes, but he's just not a smart guy, and he'll never be good because of it. You get what I'm getting at here? Do you think that Ace will eventually grow into a higher IQ player? That he's supposed to be in high school. He's still a baby. Do you think he'll grow into a little smarter on a shot selection, a little better with his decisions, not dribbling into double teams, and he'll start to recognize those things? Or do you think this is going to be a reoccurring theme with him that you just have to live with, that he kind of makes these really bad decisions with the ball?
I mean, listen, a lot of the time when a high-end prospect goes into college, the whole point is to pick somewhere where you're going to be developed properly. He went to Rutgers. Yeah. So I don't think that his ability to learn and grow is out of the realm. And like I said, it really depends on the team that selects him in the NBA. Washington, I don't see being able to develop him fully and properly because they have, Alex Sarr, who could be a 4, and Bilal Coulibaly, who could be a 3. Now, if they move Sarr to the 5, I don't think Ace is a guy that can play the 4. So I'm not sure where the fit is for him with a team like Washington that could kind of deteriorate his development over there. Toronto, they have Brandon Ingram. As of right now, they still have RJ Barrett. They still have Scotty Barnes. To me, again, not really a great place for him to fully develop his skill set. So it just depends on the team. I do think that he'll be able to improve and learn as a player in the NBA. I definitely see more upside than I do a failure, especially if he was to be selected by a team, along the lines of Brooklyn, Utah, Miami. There's a couple of teams that I have on here that definitely could be great fits for him in terms of developing his full skill set. So I wouldn't be mad at that pick at all with Ace at 3 for Brooklyn.
No, I love the pick. This is who I wanted at 3. Before the year started, before the season started, this was my number 1 guy. Obviously, other 2 have passed him, Harper and Flag. But LBL here. LBL, your thoughts? We went with Ace at 3 over VJ. Do you have a preference on those guys, and do you like the choice that we made?
I would take Ace as well. You know, I would be ecstatic with that pick. You know, because one of the things that for me, having seen both of them in college, I think Ace is a better prospect than Brandon Miller. So if his floor was Brandon Miller, that would be okay. But we want more from it.
Good.
To me, I see his floor as Michael Porter Jr. with his middle ground being Brandon Miller and his ceiling being a guy like Paul George. I think those are kind of the 3 levels to his game I could see him hitting.
But what's funny is, and I probably got to see he and Dylan the most because you know I always had access to some of the Rutgers games, and wow, that team, that's got to be like the stupidest team. I mean, and you know I got to put some of it on the coach too because it's like
it's all on the coach. Steve Peichel is the coach. He runs. I mean,
but they've had so many games. So many games early where they didn't even go to this kid. I mean, and he could score at will, but you never knew he was even on the court because everybody else wants, you know, it's like almost whoever gets the ball, they're like, let me cook. And it's like, why are you not feeding this guy the ball, especially when Dylan Harper goes out of the game? You know, they would still be going that center who also is a freshman. I mean, he was taking top of the key threes and stuff. I'm like, what is going on, Pico? What are you thinking about? I mean, you know, so, I mean, yeah, that does have something to do with his intellect in actually choosing them in the first place. So I understand Dylan there. But also, I feel like what makes you better, because Cooper would have been good wherever he went. But I think one of the things that happens, you know, like when you go to a school like Duke is you're surrounded by guys who not only have basketball acumen, but they're actually pretty bright. And I think that that's one of the things that we see with some of these guys, you know, they're so young that, you know, that's what you're hoping for is the upside is however erratic he is in terms of lack of basketball IQ, maybe it's because he just hasn't had enough basketball experience, you know? So you're hoping that that's what will happen. Or if he's surrounded by smarter players, you know, they'll get smarter.
Definitely. I definitely agree.
His first decision to go to Rutgers was the wrong decision for his development in his career, but he's so good and so talented. He was going to get drafted in the top 3 anyway. So I guess what does it matter? But like when he picked Rutgers, I'm like, this is like the worst school he can pick. Like he's not going to shine in this offense, right? Like there's just no way. But I mean, he's not going to look his best, right? Like but you know, his decision is what it is. He's going to go 3rd or 4th in the draft. Washington is up 4th, Dylan. I guess VJ is the pick here, but it's like the one position they're not flawed at. So what does Washington do at 4?
Yeah, this is definitely where I see VJ going. You know, do you run Jordan Poole at the 1 or the 2? I think if you're in the position to select VJ, you want to have him primarily run the 1, moving VJ to the 2. I also think the duo, more so young trio of VJ, Bilal Coulibaly, and Alex Sarr is actually really intriguing for Washington. Defensively, it causes a lot of disruption. Both Bilal and VJ are high caliber defensive players. VJ with a bit more of an offensive ceiling than what Bilal has. And then you mix that with Alex Sarr at 6'11", 7'1", whatever he is in that range. With his two-way ability to play the game and space the floor. I definitely think that's really an intriguing trio of young prospects for them to build around, especially when they're able to free up the cap space moving off of guys like Jordan Poole and Chris Middleton over the next 2-3 years. I think they can honestly be building something pretty special there if they can maintain that young core. So I absolutely love the fit for VJ there in Washington, and it would be interesting to see how they play out next season with the, couple of older veterans like Jonas Valanciunas, Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton. See if they can pick up a couple extra wins than they did this season and not fully bottom out next year. So it'll be interesting to see them and what that young trio could do over there.
So there's going to be some. If this was the case, and it's Ace and VJ, you can see VJ's highlight reel. There's going to be some debate. I like the Ace pick. I would go Ace 10 out of 10 times, but there's definitely an argument to be made for VJ. Like you said, he's probably the more pro-ready player right now.
I would see.
Out of the two, I agree. That's right. It's my fault.
Is it Washington that's picking now?
It's Washington just picked for
see, I would see them taking Fears, because I think that they definitely want to move off of Poole, but I see them taking Fears because VJ, it's kind of like he has to beat out Bubba Carrington, and his athleticism will, but I'm not sure if his experience will. And I
think Bub stays as the backup one. He's primarily a one guard. VJ's more primarily a two. I think Bub is the replacement for Jordan Poole if and when they decide to move him or let his contract expire in 2 years. So I didn't even mention him a part of that young core, but that's definitely, if you're putting together a team that consists of a 6'5", 6'6" point guard who can play making and score at all three levels, VJ who can score at all three levels, brings athleticism on both ends of the floor and is a high caliber defender, Bilal, who's a high caliber defender and has gotten better offensively, mix that with Alex Sarr, who's a two-way threat as a big man, that's definitely an interesting young core to build around. So I personally do believe Fears is the fourth or fifth best player in this draft class. Problem is that a lot of teams aren't looking at him specifically. I've looked at every mock draft, every big board over the past couple of weeks, and even after the March Madness performance and his conference play performances where he really rose his stock, there are still not a lot of people who project him to go in the top 6. I think I saw a couple where they have him mocked at Brooklyn at 6, but outside of that, a lot of people have him mocked between that 6 through 12 range. I personally don't agree with him falling past 8.
Here on Fanspo, and they have him at 6. He was at 14.
Oh well, this is my big board.
Oh, this is your big board. That's right.
This is my big board. But yeah, I personally have him in my top 6. Now, do I think he's better than Trey Johnson? Yes. Do I think that he could be debatable with a guy like VJ? Yes. But again, a lot of teams have certain needs, and it looks like that's kind of where a lot of the big boards are falling in terms of Fears falling in that 8 through 12 range. So we'll see. I personally think he's top 5 though.
I saw Bub more as more as a combo guard, more as a connector. So that's why I thought that they might actually, if they land in that spot, they'll take Fears. I think what is it, Locked On NBA Big Board, those Barlow brothers, I think they have him, top 5, I guess, Fears. But I could see them trying to get him because they just and because of his style of play probably would fit all those young dunkers and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even Tankathon has him listed at 8. Most of the mock drafts that I've been watching on YouTube and on certain websites, a lot of them have him between that 8 through 12 range. Some of the more recent mock drafts from Bleacher Report, CBS kind of have him going 6 to Brooklyn. But outside of at 6 to Brooklyn, I don't see other teams taking him on many of these mock drafts and big boards. So we'll see where his pick range is. I got one other question.
I got one other question for you. I got one other question for you guys. Can we start, because I did share this with you guys on X right before I came on. I was like, can we start making comps? Can we start making NBA comps for these guys to guys that actually play, not just guys that get drafted? Because that's my biggest pet peeve when I'm reading when I'm looking at some of the videos or I'm reading some of the mock drafts, and they're like, this guy compares to Hood Shafino or someone like, and it's like these guys aren't even playing. What are you talking? I'm saying, like let me see a guy that at least compare him to a guy that I could see on a regular basis, so I can say. And I know it. I know I'm not saying that they're. I know that they're not there yet as far as a lot of these are prospects, so they're not going to be starters. But please, let's compare them to guys that we've actually seen play. Who actually get run. That's what I mean.
All right. For sure. All right, number 5. This is interesting to me. This is a no-brainer. Dylan, number 5, Jazz. Pretty good spot here, picking 5 with what they have. Where does Utah go at 5?
Yeah, I think they go with a primary scorer, and that's Mies Trey Johnson.
Ooh, really?
They have 2 point guards. They have Keontae George, who can play the 1 and the 2. They have Isaiah Collier, who is a primary facilitator. They have Larry Markkinen. They have bigs. They have wings. I think, to me, the 2 guard is something that they are looking into. And again, it really just depends on the team need and fit. Personally, to me, I think Johnson is just the better fit. When they have as many point guards as they do in Keontae and Isaiah Collier, I think they need a guy that can really just light it up and score, and that's Trey Johnson, not Cam Thomas. But yeah, Trey Johnson reminds me of a 6'6" Cam Thomas with a much more polished game on both ends of the floor. Not an incredible defender, not an incredible playmaker, but it's definitely better than what Thomas was coming out of college. And at 6'6",
he's longer than Cam Thomas, so that helps.
Yeah.
But he's a defensive liability for sure. I love rooting for him. I was happy to have him as a Longhorn. I'll root for him in the NBA. Just hopefully it's not as a Brooklyn Net. Like, that's my take on Trey Johnson. To me, this is going to be the just empty stats defined. Like, he's going to score 25. He's going to be a 25-point per game scorer, and that's all he's going to do. And he's going to take a bunch of shots. Some are going to be piss poor. Like, you can see the offense. He can drop 30 on the moon, right? Like, he can score 30 anywhere. I just don't see anything else to his game. And to me, in 2025, with all the multifaceted players, I don't really value him that much. Like, he's a bucket getter, and that's all he is. He doesn't
out of the top 9 where Brooklyn's pick could range between. Trey Johnson, VJ, and Con Knepel are the 3 players I would be extremely disappointed and upset with taking. You can take Flag, Ace, Harper, Fears, Malawak, Queen. I don't mind Edgecombe, but even then, like, it's not the fit. So if I had to pick 3 guys that I would actually just be like if we're live for draft night, if I'm not there and the pick's made and it's one of VJ, Johnson, or Knepel, you're gonna see me freak the fuck out. Like, those are just the 3 guys in the top 9 that I would not select if I'm Brooklyn. You got Malawak, you got Queen, you got Fears, Harper, Ace, Flag. Those are one of those 6 players you need, and they all have tremendous upside as well. So to me, if they mess that pick up, I'd be extremely angry. But yeah, I mean, Johnson is a top 6 talent. It just really depends on the team that's there. Like, if it's Toronto, I could see him going there. If it's Charlotte, I can see him going there. If it's Utah, Washington, I could see him going there. Like, it really just depends on who's picking.
You wouldn't think that this seems like such an anti-Ainge pick.
That was kind of my inkling too. Yeah, like, this is a Danny Ainge kind of guy.
Like, I could see Ainge taking Queen before he would take Johnson.
I don't see it just because they still have John Collins, who they haven't been able to move off of, and they still have Walker Kessler, who they're looking to bring back. So I just don't see another big. Their biggest need is probably a 2 and a 3. And as of right now, I'm not taking Con Knepel over Trey Johnson. So to me, it's kind of just best available for Utah. They've really been bad at tanking the past 3 years that they've been trying to do it. I think that they need to hit big on a pick. And to me, go grab one of the highest upside scorers in the draft to pair alongside Markkinen and Kessler.
Well, this next team I'm interested in, Charlotte at 6. Like, Fears, I think, by far is the best player on the board, although their best player is also a point guard. What happens here at 6?
This is tough because you really could like I would not hate Con Knepel going here. Because I think he's a perfect fit next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller. But you also have to bring in the question again, what are they going to do with Mark Williams? Are they going to bring him back because it's impossible to trade him now, or are they going to look for his replacement? So to me, I think that you need to go with Maliwak. I just think it makes a ton of sense. He's a bit more versatile than Mark Williams is. He can space the floor, but I think having a dual set of 7-2 guys who play very, very similar on the defensive end is a big help for what they need. I mean, when Mark Williams isn't playing, I couldn't even tell you who their backup big is. So I definitely think Maliwak is a really safe pick there for Charlotte. And LaMelo's kind of given the okay on, I'm not requesting a trade. I want to build something here, which I think is a really good sign for Charlotte. So go ahead and grab one of the higher upside guys for when you are ready. And if Mark Williams ever is able to pass a physical and he's ready to be traded, you at least have his replacement right there in Kemon Maliwak. He's by far the best rim protector in this class. He is probably the best shooting big man in the class in terms of the three ball. Queen, not so much. Maliwak has the upside to be a very good stretch five in the NBA. If he puts on a little bit of weight and gets his conditioning better, I could see him as a full-time starter. But the upside there is really high. I can see Mark Williams to a T, but with a three ball.
Did Williams get his money?
Not that I know of yet. No, I don't think he's extension eligible until the offseason, and we'll see if they even end up giving him that.
Because that's probably the only way they could get out of that is just, somehow like that, because, that back injuries are like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Now they need a big man. To me, do they go Queen here, or what does New Orleans do at 7?
Let's look at the trade board here, because I don't think New Orleans has another pick after this, and I do think that they need 2 positions really badly. So let's look at some of the teams that are available on the trade market. Let's see. I can't see Orlando making that far of a jump. I don't see Brooklyn moving all the way back up. My thing right now is, does Derek Queen go this early after they just took a center last year in the first round? I do think Con Kneppel is a great pick here for New Orleans as a CJ McCollum replacement. I also think he fits really well with Trey Murphy and Herb Jones long term. They're also looking to move off of Zion, so I do see them getting a center. Right now, I have him linked to San Antonio and Detroit, and if they go the Detroit route, they're getting one of Isaiah Stewart or Jalen Duren. So to me, I think they're going to fix up their big man problem via trade with Zion Williamson. So honestly, you know what? Let's go with Con Kneppel here at 7. Like I said, I really think it's a really good replacement for when they decide to move on from CJ McCollum. And he's a floor spacer. If you could have 3 guys at your wing spots in Con Kneppel, Trey Murphy, and Herb Jones who can space the floor and defend really well, I think that's huge for them. And when DeJounte Murray heals up from his torn Achilles injury, hopefully he comes back healthy. I think that's a really good core that they have building over there. DeJounte as a facilitator and scorer. Kneppel as a Klay Thompson-like player. That's who I see him being. And then you have Trey Murphy, who's emerging as a star in this league. I believe he averaged over 22 a game this year. Very efficient from 3. Very, very effective defensively with his athleticism. So to me, they have something really good going, and they could use a perfect fit in Con Kneppel, especially if they gain a center through the trade market from Zion.
To me, this is where things start to get scary, because there are still impact players on this board, and the best team in basketball that almost won 70 games this year is now picking. Do they try to fill a need here? Do they just go best player available because they already have an embarrassment of riches? What does Oklahoma City do here?
Yeah, I mean, if you miss out on Con Kneppel, that's really rough, because I think that is OKC's perfect fit if they land that pick. And that's kind of why I did it where I have New Orleans taking him, not only because I think he's a good fit there, but I also think it makes it a bit more difficult for OKC picking here. To me, they don't need a guard whatsoever, so you can take off Fears, Yakachonis, and Jace Richardson right away. They have Nikola Topic, who didn't even play a game this year after tearing his ACL before the draft last year, so he was developing all season long, recovering from that. They have Cason Wallace, they have Alex Caruso, they have SGA. So they really don't need a guard whatsoever. I mean, when you're looking at their team on paper, they don't need anything. But
do they have to draft in terms of draft, or even, as Gary would say, trade in order for you know, with in mind SGA maybe leaving, like if they have a poor postseason or something?
I mean, I've been saying it forever. I think that they need to trade off of a ton of these picks and go grab a superstar. I think SGA is a perfect. I think OKC in general, with the assets they have, the young pieces that they have to move on from, the contracts that they could do to match up with the salaries. I think that they are the perfect ideal landing spot for a guy like Giannis. Just Sam Presti is a terrorist of an owner in the sense that he refuses to move on from draft capital and young assets. Um, I don't know what his thought process is as a GM, because you're dealing with one of the smaller market franchises in the NBA. And even though they've been great historically at building teams, whether that be through trades with Paul George or through drafts like Russell Westbrook, KD, Harden, it never seems to fully work out because they refuse to fully buy into what they're doing. So I'm almost hoping to see OKC get bumped out of the playoffs early because I think that they have the opportunity to go after a guy like Giannis, especially if he gets knocked out early too.
And that would be the logical power play, because you've got to keep Shea there.
Yeah. I mean, even bringing back Kevin Durant, I think that there should be more talk about that. I just don't think OKC wants to do it. But yeah, to me, Giannis makes so much sense here. I mean, do you guys want to try and do a blockbuster trade with the Bucks here to move up? I don't know if it's realistic or not.
What you want to look at? Let's take a look at it.
We can look at it. I don't think the Bucks have a pick. So you
now
have
remember,
to
what's his name is missing.
They don't have any pick at all.
I don't think they have a single pick this year.
What's his name is missing at least.
47.
Dame Lillard is missing at least the first game. He may miss the first series.
Yeah.
Well, they ain't gonna have a second series. So, yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say. With him going out, imagine if both of them, if they go out early, and then if OKC doesn't get as far, that might be the trade to make. Get Giannis over there.
I agree. I think. Listen, nobody wants to see a super team that consists of two top 5 players in basketball, because it just will be very frustrating to watch them all season long beat down on everybody. But at the end of the day, OKC is in that position to where they can do this. And as a basketball fan in general, it makes zero sense why they haven't shown any aggression in adding guys over the past season, especially since the emergence of their young core leading them to a first seed last year. Like, this is something that they should have looked into last offseason when they got knocked out in the Western Conference Finals. So to me, or did they get knocked out in the semifinals? It was one of the two. But
I think it was the semi.
Yeah, to me, they have such an incredible team with a very good coaching staff and a very good thing going for them. You might as well buy all in, like make the window now, rather than continuing to hold on to 15 plus first round picks and guys like Nikola Topic, who you're never going to play. So I agree with them trying to make this move. So you know what? Let's do it. We'll do the hypothetical here. If you click on the Bucks, I don't even know how I would. Holy shit! Let me look at their assets real quick, because this is going to be disgusting to try and get done. I mean, to me, I've been saying it for a while. I think a Jalen Williams extension sign-in trade would be perfect for Milwaukee as a startup. I know OKC fans never agree with that, but they've also never seen their team in a championship, so they may just want to take it back.
And they may have to part with Hartenstein for his money.
Yeah, I'm looking at their contracts right now. You would definitely have to move Isaiah Hartenstein. I mean, man, do they give up Hartenstein, Jalen Williams, and Isaiah Joe to get Giannis?
They probably have to give up.
I see these, and it makes me realize that Nets have absolutely no chance of getting any of these big names. They
should.
No shot.
Yeah,
but you know what? I think they probably have to give up like 2 of their top 8 guys plus picks. Because you're talking about a top 5 guy.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to see if the contracts even match up here for this to happen. Let's see. It does. I mean, listen, OKC fans may hate it because they think Jalen Williams is going to be the next gift from God, even though I don't agree with it.
I don't.
If you can replace Jalen Williams with Giannis and still be able to keep Chet with SGA, I think that you have a perfect contender. So yeah, do Isaiah Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe. Actually, you know what? Does this work with taking Isaiah Joe out and replacing him with Nikola Topic. Let me check that real quick. Because Topic is never going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
They could honestly just give up.
If you're Milwaukee, you gotta look at this from Milwaukee's perspective too. Isaiah Joe is an impact. I don't impact. He's a good
but
player,
Točić is a
right?
6'8" guard, and if they're looking to blow it up, they'd have to move off a Dame too, and that pretty much means you're getting an under 23-year-old all-star in Jalen Williams. You're getting a potential high-caliber point guard in Topic. You're getting a starting big man to replace Brook Lopez, who's either retiring or leaving, in Isaiah Hartenstein. So they'd be in a very good position. Let's see.
And the picks, yeah.
Yeah, and the picks. Yeah, so if you were to take off Isaiah Joe and add Topic, they'd still need to clear $3.5 million. So for this instance, we'll just say a salary filler like Kenrich Williams, which does end up working. So yeah,
that guy's in the NBA, but he is.
Yeah, I know. We'll do Isaiah Hartenstein, Kenrich Williams, Jalen Williams, and Nikola Topic, and then we will include OKC's pick at 8-21, I believe, or whatever their 20s pick is, and then we can just say 3 future first-round picks.
Yeah, the Nets have 0% chance of getting.
No, there should be a 0% chance.
How much does Jalen get in the sign and trade?
I don't know he has 1 year on his deal left. So realistically, they don't have to extend him before trading him. That's something that Milwaukee can do once they get him, or they can let him play the season on the cheap deal and wait till after.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I would assume because he made an all-star team, he's getting $35+ million for his next contract. So we'll see. But yeah, listen, if that's the haul that you have to give up for Giannis, you would still have Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort, Giannis, SGA.
That's still
you would still have Case and Wallace. Like they still
have.
To me,
that's a win. To me, that's a win for.
I think that's a win for both sides.
Yeah.
Because Milwaukee's picks are in. Yeah, I'm good with that. I think this is a win for everybody because Milwaukee's picks are in New Orleans, right? So you're able to stockpile, 3-4 future first along with 2 picks in this high caliber draft class. You get back an all-star who's young. You get back a guy with high upside in Topic. You get a starting big man in Hartenstein. That's really a really good start for a team who just won a championship a couple of years ago to rebuild. So I definitely would like that move for them a ton. Now, if it's Milwaukee here at 8, to me, I'm taking Derek Queen.
They got Topic, remember now.
So they don't really need fears. To me, this is actually a tough pick because they could go Colin Murray-Boyles, but I don't think they would pass up on Derek Queen, especially with Hartenstein only having 1 year left on his deal next year. So go Derek Queen here. That's definitely a solid pick for them.
Is Queen going to play the 4 or 5?
I'm not. I see him more as a 5, but undersized 5, but mainly a 5.
Because they still have. They still have what's his name at the 3, right? Kuzma.
Yeah, the Raptors here at 9 is a little interesting, especially now that all the big men that I would have in the top 10 off the board. They're really not a fit for Colin Murray-Boyles. I think Jakic is the better fit here, but again, I just don't see a world where Jakic gets picked over Fears, even though they have him mocked ahead of him on a ton of
guy falls. Like, look, if we had Fears going high, now he's like, it's just for fit. He's falling all the way down to at least 9, maybe further.
Who's the next team up? Is it Chicago or San Antonio?
San Antonio.
Yeah, I could see this being Jeremiah Fears here in Toronto. They have Quickly as of right now, but they could look to package him and RJ Barrett for something later on.
And Quickly has always been a 6 man. Like, I still like him in that role.
Not only that, and he also dealt with a lot of injuries this year too. So yeah, I like the Fears fit here. I really think that's a good fit to put alongside Ingram and Scotty Barnes long term.
But you think there's a team out there that would actually want Quickly's contract?
Potentially, if they're rebuilding and Quickly's on a 1-2 year deal that they can move off of and clear that money.
Oh, I thought Quickly got the big money. That's why
he did. He did. Quickly got big money, but
it was 5 years. I thought it was 5-year deal. 4 years, 5 years, 175. So that's 35. Yeah, that's gonna be. It's gonna be tough to move on.
That's the thing. All these mid guys, man, they all got overpaid, so it's making it hard to move them now.
The guys coming when the contract started.
Last year was the first year.
Yeah, I think it was.
Last year was the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his contract is 32.5 up until 28, 29. That's gonna be real
That's
hard to
rough.
move.
Yeah.
That's really rough.
And Barrett
I mean,
didn't get
you would have to
get
see.
the deal, right?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said RJ Barrett didn't get a deal, right?
No, I think he's been on the same contract since he left the Knicks.
Yeah.
So
See, that's
yeah,
what
I
makes
mean,
it hard to move.
who knows? I mean, if there's a
RJ's
star that becomes
making
available,
27 million a year. That's no chump change for RJ.
Oh no, that's still overpaid for what he's done.
He had a good season. He had a really good season. I mean, it's a lot, but I mean, it's the same contract that the next gave to Claxton.
You're
Who would you rather
comparing
have,
it to
Claxton or
Claxton,
RJ
right?
Barrett, you know?
You're comparing it to Claxton. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, San Antonio at 10.
Yeah, again, a bit of a weird scenario for them here. To me, let's just, again, hypothetical. You're in this scenario where Houston lands flag. I doubt they go after Kevin Durant now. You have Milwaukee who trades Giannis to OKC, so San Antonio's out on Giannis. To me, now they're in the position for Zion. I don't think they're going in for a guy like Colin Murray Boyles. So to me, I think this is where you see Kasparis Jakučionis go. 6'6" guard. He will be the replacement for Chris Paul, a guy who can score off the perimeter, can create his own shot, makes very well, rebounds very well for his size and for his position. So to me, I think this is a really good fit long term, especially depending on what they do. Again, I mean, who knows if they have to move a guy like Stephon Castle for a star at some point in time. Jakučionis could fit in there as the 2. So I definitely like the pick there for them. Adds a little bit more guard depth to what they have, and they still have a package for a superstar when the time comes and they're ready. So
in these highlights, he looks like he's real quick. Is he, or is this just he's playing against other slow white guys?
He's not like he's not quick. He's not slow. He's he has a pace to his game that he plays at his own. So I wouldn't say that he's slow or quick. Like he's just he's white. He's like me. You know, we move, but we move at our own pace. You know. So yeah, I don't hate the pick there at 10 for him.
All right.
He definitely has court awareness though.
Yeah, I mean, in conference play and tournament play, he looked horrible in terms of assist to turnover ratio, which was definitely a bit of a concern, which is why I have him slipping to 10. I mean, earlier in the season, he was projected top 6. So it's definitely a bit of a drop in terms of his stock for me. But I still think at 10, you're getting a very good player.
Wait a second. Is this accurate? I'm freaked out here. So I'm looking at Portland's roster, right? Because they have Rondae Hollis-Jefferson on their roster.
It may be wrong, so if you look at Brooklyn's roster when we get to the next pick, I think they still have Mike James on the roster. It's just may be like still paying players. Like there was a scenario. Oh my God, who was the one guy that got a horrible contract and they got bought out like 3 years before the end of their contract and they were still paying it off? It was the Lakers. I forgot who it was, but they were still paying some dude for like 6 years. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes
Oladipo, right?
It may have been.
Oh, no, Deng. It was Luol Deng.
It was Luol Deng. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes if you buy out a contract really early or the player retires, it still shows up for them paying them.
Oh, because it's spread over those years.
Yeah. But
I was going to say, Portland's my new favorite team if they have Rondae Hollis-Jefferson out.
Me too.
How does he end up in the league again?
Day.
The share screen. The share screen came off. You're going to have to pop that back on.
Oh, hang on. I know who I like here for them. We'll see what says. Oh, I saw the wrong thing. Hang on. Here it is. All right. We good? Can you see it?
We can.
All right, cool.
So what is this, 11 in Portland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any better fit here than Colin Murray Boyles. This is a perfect 4 to add to that team that they currently have.
What about Newell? I know I like him more than you do, but what about Ash Newell?
I think Colin Murray Boyles is the perfect fit. They already have height. They already have scoring ability. I think Colin Murray Boyles is either the second or third best defender in this draft class. And to me, I think that's exactly what they need. Realistically, you're likely to move off of Anthony Simons if you're Portland this year. You would have a starting lineup that consists of Scoot, Shaden Sharp, Denny, potentially Colin Murray Boyles if you are able to move off of Jeremy Grant, and then one of either Ayton or Klingon at the 5. I think that's a really fun young team to play around, and with the way that they overachieved this year and some of the teams that are kind of deteriorating in the West, they could make a fighting chance for that 10th spot in the play-in next year. So I could definitely see them going Murray Boyles here. And to me, Boyles is a guy that could even go top 8. But I think Portland, if they're able to land him there, what is this, at 11? Perfect fit. Couldn't even think twice.
Yeah, I think they move off of Ayton too.
Yeah, it's just the problem is going to be where and who's willing to take on Ayton. I think that's the biggest problem. I mean, there's talks about Bradley Beal getting bought out because of how bad his contract is, and nobody wants him, and he's on a 2-year, $50 million deal still. So, I mean, does Portland look to buy out Ayton potentially to free up the roster spot? Who knows? I don't think that he holds any value. But at the same time, if they overachieve next year, if you still have somehow Jeremy Grant, Simons, and Ayton on the team, you have contracts to package up for a star. So who knows what they end up doing? I think long-term wise, a Klingon, Colin Murray, Boyles, Denny, Shaden Sharp, and Scoot starting 5 is definitely intriguing, though.
And they just re-signed Chauncey. I'm like, man, it must be good to have Clutch rep you.
All right. Moving on. Dallas, another interesting pick. I don't know. You got a team who's trying to lose, I guess. They're trying to pull a Cleveland Indians in the movie Major League. They're trying to tank and sell their team. what do they do here?
Yeah, this is such a weird spot because they have everything that you could possibly need in a team, right? You have Kyrie, you have Clay, you have AD, PJ Washington. You have 2 bigs in Gafford and Lively. They really don't need much. But I like let's check the teams that you could potentially trade with. Like, do they trade back? I know they only have 1 pick in this year's draft. Maybe we see a trade for them. I mean, Nico Harrison doesn't really seem like he knows what he's doing anyway.
I feel so bad for Nico. I don't think this trade had anything to do with him, and he's going to get all the brunt of it. I think this was made by the owners, well over his head. But
who knows? I don't know. He's been standing pat on, I did what was best for the Mavericks. So,
well, he's a pussy, so he has to. He can't say he can't say this trade was made over my head. Don't blame me, because he'll get fired, and he's afraid of getting fired, right? So it is what it is.
Yeah. Let's look at the trade opportunities here.
I like Carter Bryant.
I just don't know if he goes this early. I got him between 14 and 17 usually. Click on trade partner. Let's see some of the teams that are coming up next. No, I don't see Atlanta moving up. Minnesota has one of the first picks in the second round, but I also think they need a little bit more depth, so they may want to keep both of those picks. Washington's a bit too far out of the way for me to make a move, unless if they are willing to throw in an additional first, maybe. I mean, do they get really aggressive?
What about staying here? We got to kind of move through this a little bit. What about just staying here and taking Igor? Like, remember, Kyrie's going to be out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially, if you want to keep Kyrie, you have a tall point guard to play alongside Kyrie. So you don't have that.
I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. You know what? No, let's actually go with a trade here. There is one. Let's do Orlando. I still like the Orlando move up here. Let's go with pick 16 and one of those second-round picks, the earliest one. We'll do that. I definitely can see them making a move up, and I think my Dallas is going to want an extra pick anyway. I like this move. Whether they throw in future draft capital that's protected, who knows? But yeah, let's do this. I like Orlando moving up because I like Asa Newell here for Orlando.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's exactly what they need.
Yeah. They need some more versatility. He's got to get better as a 3-point shooter. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. But I could definitely see them going him there. So 13 with Chicago. This is where
a team that kind of sucks everywhere. So what do they do? Like, they just kind of suck. Like, just best player available.
I mean, with the way that Giddey's playing, I feel like you need to bring him back. So if they were to bring him back, I could see them going, Jace Richardson, potentially Carter Bryant.
I was thinking Jace Richardson because he's an undersized 2, but you have a tall 1. I would take Jace if I was them.
And he plays more like a CJ McCollum too, so it makes sense for him to play the 2 next to a bigger guard. Yeah, I like the pick here for Jace Richardson. I mean, there's people that are mocking him in the top 10. I don't see it. I continue to say that. So I think Chicago at 13 is a really good fit. And then Atlanta at 14, you have to think Trae Young's gone. For me, go Igor Demon here to end off the lottery. I think that this is a perfect fit for Atlanta in terms of moving on from Trae Young to fill out the rest of the roster around its young talent and Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, Zachariah Rishashar, and then potentially Igor Demon. So I definitely don't hate that move for them whatsoever. And then where 15. Are we at now? 15? Yeah, and this is again, I'm going to continue to do this because I'm going to beat it like a dead horse until it fails. We're going to have Brooklyn trade up here to 15. Who did we get we went Ace, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move pick 27 and Cam Johnson. That's the package that I think would work. You would do, Harrison Barnes as the salary filler. Who knows? But I definitely think a package of either 26 or 27 with Cam Johnson would work.
27 for 15. And Barnes, you said, as the salary
filler? Yeah, we'll just say Barnes for now. I mean, there was a rumor that I had spoken about with a Spurs reporter that mentioned the package would likely include Jeremy Sochan rather than Barnes. But if you include Sochan, then you have to add an extra salary filler because the contracts don't meet.
We can't get Keldon Johnson. They wouldn't do this with Keldon Johnson. They wouldn't go.
I personally don't even. I mean, based on how you and I have spoken about Keldon Johnson, it doesn't seem like he wants to be here, nor does Brooklyn want that contract.
Yeah, he did say specifically, I don't want to go there. I hate New York.
Yeah,
so
that's enough for me.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. We can pass on that. We've had players come here that supposedly love New York and New Jersey. Cough, cough, Kyrie, and he even requested a trade. So I'm going to pass on a guy that actually doesn't want to be here.
Good point. Good point.
So Brooklyn at 15, it's really an interesting spot. They got Ace. Do they double up on the wing position and go Carter Bryant?
Yeah,
or do they go with the point guard? I'm almost leaning Nolan Traore here.
Okay.
Because to me, at pick 20, we're going Thomas Sorber. Like I still think that that's just destiny. So I'm in between Carter Bryant and Traore here. Because I mean, at 26, you could grab a point guard. It's just, is he going to be a potential franchise point guard? I don't know.
We already got D'Lo, so we're good at the point.
Yeah. Oh God, why did I even agree with that? I wasn't even listening to you. No. Ugh. God, no. I'd rather burn.
I like Carter Bryant here, but I'll go with Dylan on this though.
I'd go with Carter Bryant too.
I listen. It's upside pick, and it's by far the highest upside player currently on the board. Yeah, I don't hate it. Let's go Carter Bryant. We'll switch it up.
I love his motor. He plays hard,
Yeah, he's a two-way guy that has a lot of untapped potential as an offensive player. I agree. And at 6'8", 220 at the age of 18, there's something there. So I don't hate that at all if you double up on the wing spots with your first couple of picks.
If we walk away with this, and we still got one more pick in the first round. If we walk away with just
two more, we still have 20 and 26.
He only gave up one. He only gave up one in Cam Johnson.
You're right.
Cam Johnson's worth the first, and we're moving up 12 spots, so you give up 27. I think that's more than fair value for pick 15. What are we at here? Dallas. This is where I see Nolan Traore now, especially with Kyrie out. Go with your overseas point guard that you'll trade once he becomes a superstar and averaging 30 and 10. So yeah, Nolan Traore.
You think Kid will like him?
I think so. He's Traore has had comps to like Alonzo Ball, just with lesser defense, better offense, but similar play style in the way that he handles the ball and facilitates. So I definitely think that he would like that fit.
And they kept telling me he was explosive and he had an explosive first step, and I never saw it. What are your thoughts on that? Like, they kept telling me he was explosive. So I'm like, I don't see that at all.
I think there's like a big misunderstanding when people say a quick first step and then like explosive. They don't correlate. Like, you can have a quick first step, but be extremely slow afterwards, right?
100%.
Look at Luka. His first step is very quick, but then he, looks like he drinks a 12-pack and, sits at McDonald's parking lot having his meal. So,
the first step is about timing.
Yeah, to me, he has a very good first step. It's just he's not like an incredibly fast player. Right? He plays at his own pace. He understands the game. He's very high IQ in the sense of how he play makes. So to me, I like that pick for them, especially with Kyrie blowing out his ACL.
17, Minnesota.
Yeah, we're going Noah Sengu here. I think that this is a perfect spot for him. They need floor spacing. They potentially need a replacement for Naz Reid, who's a 6'9" stretch 4. Noah Sengu at 6'8", still growing. Needs to put on a bit of size in terms of weight, but he's shown a ton of flashes in the sense that he can space the floor, score within the mid-range, has a solid finishing ability, and he's very versatile defensively. So I think he fits fits Minnesota very well.
Now, are they in the same win now mode that OKC is with SGA with in terms of their star?
Hey, who knows? I mean, they have new ownership. New ownership usually tends to lean either, hey, let's go all in, or let's rebuild. So to me, I think they're going to look to go all in. But again, if you miss out on Kevin Durant and if you miss out on Giannis, who knows? So I know Minnesota was the most aggressive team they mentioned at the deadline for him. I would assume that resumes as well this year. And in this scenario, what did we do? We had Cooper Flag to Houston, so they're not going KD, and then we had Giannis to OKC, so San Antonio's out. So yeah, to me, it would be San Antonio and Minnesota as the two teams potentially looking to move up for KD. So yeah, who knows what they go with there? But I think this is more of an insurance pick to wait and see if they can get KD, because they could always just trade Noah Sengu in that package for KD.
Who are we going here with the 18?
This is with Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Liam McNeely pick here. He was supposed to be in the lottery, had a very rough season in terms of efficiency and injuries. But to me, again, just a Miami Heat, a guy that can fit the culture, fit the scheme. And if you're bringing in Dylan Harper to put alongside Hero, Bam, Khalil Ware, and Andrew Wiggins, if you're having McNeely come off the bench with Jaime Jaquez, Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, I think that's definitely a very solid rotation for them to continue being a potential play-in type of team. So
yeah, I
like
saw him. I saw him very early in the year, and I wasn't impressed. But then when he came back from his injury or illness or whatever that was, when he came back, he was UConn's best player. It's like they needed him,
Yeah.
So I was impressed with him later in the season because UConn, that was a big fall off in terms of talent for them.
Yeah, by far. I mean, they were projected to be a top 5 team in college basketball last year, and they completely fell on their face. So who knows? But I definitely think at the value of 18, it's kind of hard to pass him up.
Yeah, he's a connector. He could he could do everything.
Yeah, no, I
We're
agree.
back to 19 with Washington. Who did we take with them?
We took VJ Edgecombe.
That's right, VJ.
I'm in between two players here. It's either Will Riley or Danny Wolf. Again, I may be being a little biased here, gatekeeping Sorber until the next pick for Brooklyn, but to me, they have Alex Sarr, who can space the floor, who can be a good defender. To me, I think Danny Wolf is a really good fit next to a guy like Sarr. They're very small in terms of the depth at the big man position. And I think Danny Wolf, as a guy who can play make out of the post to open up a guy like Sarr who can play the perimeter, when you have guys like Bilal, potentially VJ, Jordan Poole, Corey Kispert, I think that they definitely could use a guy that can play make out of the post. I don't see Sarr being that guy. I don't really see Sorber being like an incredible playmaker out of the post who can get people open. So to me, I think Danny Wolf is actually a really good fit here for Washington at 19.
And then now it's the Nets, and now we go Sorber.
Yeah, we're going Sorber here. I think that, again, it's just if he's there at 20, you can't pass him up.
If Washington takes the homeboy, if they take the hometown guy Sorber, then who do we take?
I would go Ben Surratt. You need a point guard. So it's really interchangeable in the sense of, like, if we were keeping it fully realistic, which we probably you know what? Screw it. Let's keep it fully realistic. You want to undo the pick? We'll give Sorber to Washington and we'll go Surratt to Brooklyn. It's just I don't know who we would be going big man wise.
How do I undo this pick?
Scroll up just a little bit and then click on undo previous pick.
Pick.
Yeah, so make sure that we're on Washington. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, go
and they're
Sorber
taking
here, and then
Sorber.
go Ben Saraf to Brooklyn. I mean, I don't hate it. Like, if you miss out on Sorber, Queen, and Malawak, to me, there's not even a point of drafting a big. But we'll see if I end up taking one. I think Saraf at 20 is incredible value, knowing that he could be a potential lottery guy as well. I said it in the last one that we did. The players between 14 and 20 are very, very interchangeable. Like Carter Bryant could go as high as 12. Nolan Traore could go as high as 14. Asengwu could go as high as 11. Asa Noel could go as high as like 9. Like there's a lot of ranges between that like 10 through 20 range picks that are very interchangeable in where they could be landing. Saraf could land as high as 13 potentially to a team like Atlanta or Chicago. So to me, if you can get Saraf at 20 after missing out on Sorber, I think it's a really good fit. At 6'6", he can play the 1, he can play the 2. In this case, he'd probably be playing the 1. Very high IQ in terms of being a playmaker. Can space the floor as a three-point shooter. I think that's a really good value pick for them there at 20.
21, Utah's back on the clock. We went Trey Johnson, my boy, ended up in Utah. Have fun in Utah, Trey. Who who do they go with that at 21?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I think they need a 2 and a 3.
Go Will Riley at this point, right? Like they would they
no, I
take
think that's
Danny
the pick
Wolf?
that they do take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
guess
I
he's
said
more
it
of a
before. I
3
think
than
they need a
2.
2 and a 3. And Will
Yeah.
Riley to me reminds me of a mixture of Cam Johnson and Trey Murphy. So to me, I think that's a really good fit there. You don't know how long Taylor Hendricks is going to be out, so I'm assuming you're moving Larry Markkinen back to the full-time 4. You're going to have Walker Kessler as your full-time 5. John Collins coming off the bench. But hey, Will Riley, Trey Johnson, I think that's a really solid draft class for a team that needs offensive upside. They have very solid defense, very good playmaking. I think that they just need a couple of scorers and perimeter threats. So I think Trey Johnson and Will Riley is a really good draft class for them.
I still think that Will Riley may end up on the pick that you think they're going to take Sorber. I think he's going to go to Will Riley if he's available, but we'll see. I would rather have Sorber. I just Will Riley to me looks like Cam Johnson, and then like Sean Marks is going to wet his pants like, oh, another Cam Johnson. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, listen, this is where I'm going to bring it to you guys real quickly because I could see a trade here for Brooklyn with Atlanta. Atlanta only has this pick left. Brooklyn has 26 and 36 left. Does Brooklyn move up here for Danny Wolf, or do we stick and pick 26 and 36?
I don't want to trade up for Wolf.
Okay.
You want to do 26 and 36 for Wolf? I don't want to do that. I'll let you decide.
No,
I completely agree. I agree. So, we'll go Danny Wolf here to Atlanta. I think, again, with Clint Capella on his way out, Onyeka Okongwu is not a one-man army, and I think Danny Wolf could be a really good backup / guy that could play, split minutes with Okongwu long-term.
I'm glad we were all unanimously against that. 23, Indy.
Yeah, it sucks for them because they've just missed out on Danny Wolf, who would have been their Miles Turner replacement. To me, he can't fall any further. It's kind of tough to not take him. Yeah, go Rasheer Fleming. I mean, I don't think he is a good fit whatsoever for Indiana, but I also just don't see him going any further than this. Like, I know Bleacher Report and CBS had him mocked at Brooklyn at 26, but it's just really hard to think that Indiana would pass him up, especially with the way that they've historically drafted and made trades. Like, they have Obi Toppin, they have Ben Mathurin, they have Pascal, they have Jarris Walker. Like, they have so many pieces at the wing position, and they can't seem to get away from that. So, hey, why not just keep doing the same mistake that you continuously continue to make? There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Orlando.
I know he's only 6'8", 6'9", but he's got a 7'4" wingspan. Can he be an undersized 5?
I think I see him as Naz Reid, who has played the 5 in the past as a small ball 5. I could definitely see Fleming play the 5 potentially. Do I agree with it? No, I played basketball all my life. I am so against small ball. I hate it.
Me too.
Brooklyn scarred me with it. My last year in AAU, I was 6'2", and I was like the second tallest guy on my team. They had me playing the 4. I hated it. Small ball doesn't work. So yeah, I wouldn't agree with it, but can they do it? Probably.
All right. 24 Orlando. This would have been a good fit for Will Riley. We take Aston Noel with 12. Okay.
Yeah, I can see this being the Walter Clayton pick. Again, so many Nets fans just going on Twitter in general is like going to stupid town. It's just so
It is.
it is so
It is.
stupid so often. Like, I understand he had a great year. He had a great tournament. He won a national championship. He was the best scorer on his team. But he's a senior. And 9 times out of 10, a senior does not develop into anything high caliber in the NBA outside of a role player. Brooklyn is in a position where they genuinely don't have any form of future with the current roster that they consist of. Go with young, go with high upside. Rasheer Fleming, to me, has higher upside. Yaxel Lendeborg, who we're not going to be drafting in this draft because he's committed to Michigan as of right now. I would take him over Walter Clayton. I would take Nick Clifford over Walter Clayton. But Walter Clayton's risen his stock.
I would take Clifford here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've risen their stock, or he has risen his stock, and I think that a team will bite on him. He is one of the better perimeter scorers, and I think out of the veteran players that we have available on the board currently, he is the better scorer out of all of them. In terms of
and he'll
perimeter
sell a
shooting.
ton of jerseys in Orlando. If you keep him in Florida, he'll sell a ton.
Yeah,
of jerseys
and he also fixes a bit of a need that they have for perimeter shooting. So yeah, I like Walter Clayton there to Orlando.
Is he another Jameer Nelson?
Potentially. I don't
That's
hate
what
that
I
comparison.
see him as, like just a short. Like I see him as either, or what's the guy that used to play with KD at Texas? What's that guy?
Right,
the point guard, Gary, that played with KD at Texas. He had a long. He had a long career too.
In the NBA,
Augustine.
DJ Augustine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I see.
He was in the he was in the league for a while.
Yeah, that's what I see Clayton as. You know.
They had that was They could Damian. Remember Damian James that was on the Jet in the net. The Nets picked him in the first round.
Yeah.
He never worked out. He was on that team too.
But I see him as a guy that
DJ Augustine. Yeah.
That's what I see Clayton.
DJ Augustine and AJ Abrams on that team.
Isaiah is staying in the draft. Isaiah Evans.
I believe so. I think he will. Let's see. I'm looking at my big board right now just to make sure that I don't have any names that aren't on Fanspo. First round, we're fine for now. I may have a guy move up in the second round, though, into the first. But, all right, who are we at here? Milwaukee?
The Bucks at 25.
Listen, I don't think he should go this high.
How much?
But
Nick Clifford, how much more does he? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see if Milwaukee moves on from Giannis if they move on from Giannis and they're able to get Jalen Williams, Topic, and Hartenstein, I just don't see them going with more veteran presence. They already have Jalen Williams, who is an all-star at 23. They have Hartenstein, who's already 27 plus years old. They still would have Kuzma on the roster. They still have Dame as of right now until they move off of him. So I don't really see them going with more like win now ready players like Nick Clifford.
Sure.
To me, this is where I see LeBaron Filan going, the Alabama point guard.
Yeah.
Very good defensive point guard.
Yeah.
I personally don't think he should be, but I've seen a lot of mock drafts that have him in that like 24 through 29 range. So I'll respect the boards. I'll go LeBaron Filan here at 25. One of the better defensive upside point guards in the league. And again, if they're able to move off of Dame, I think having Filan and Igor or Topic has a good ring to it. Topic being your facilitating offensive point guard with LeBaron Filan being your defensive floor spacing point guard. So I like those fits there for them. And who do we got here? This is Brooklyn now again.
We're back up. Can we? Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Let's see. So we got Ace, we got Bryant, we got Ben. So we've gotten our wings and guard. Can you scroll up to the top of the board? Who's best available currently?
Oh, the top of the board. Yeah. Well, Lindeborg is gone. He's not.
Yeah.
We were taking a point. I wanted Boogie, but he already took a point guard.
Yeah. To me,
Uh,
he's shooting up draft boards. He's receiving incredible praise. I personally haven't watched him play yet. If you click on his name, maybe we can see if there's highlights of him. But that's Juan Berenger, center out of France.
Isaiah Evans is going back to school, right?
I think he's going in. I'm going to have him drafted in this
Okay.
one. I just don't think that they go 3 wings. I think the baseline to a Nets draft, if they keep all 5 picks, is a point guard, 2 wings, a center, and then best available.
You wanted Beringer? That's who you wanted? The French guy?
Yeah, I haven't watched much film on him. We can see if they have any of him on here. I don't know. Yeah, let's do it. We'll watch it together because I haven't seen him play yet. So, I've just been hearing incredible praise for him though, on a ton of draft. What is this?
This is some guy talking about him.
Is this a video of him?
Not him. This is some guy talking about him. Yeah.
There we go. All right, let's see how
is
he
he on the
plays.
senior team?
I believe so. All right.
Remember,
all right, so he looks to be athletic, very
LBL will be old enough
undersized
to remember
for a
this.
center.
Remember when teams wanted to draft seniors because it meant they knew how to play basketball?
Yeah.
That is lost now. That is a thing of the past. Like juniors and seniors were valued. Now,
got to get this guy off my screen.
Why am I looking at him? He's a Chicago. He's a Chicago
keep
Cubs
skipping
fan.
the highlights because to me he looks like he's about 6'9". I don't even think he's actually 6'10". But yeah, he moves very well for a supposed big.
Ooh,
Looks to be
athleticism.
athletic.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see him as a 5 in the NBA. Maybe a 4. Like, let's see if he can shoot. Are there any clips of him shooting a 3? Any floor spacing ability whatsoever?
This is hard to watch because I keep having a senior citizen guy jump in.
Got Nets Daily on there.
All right, but that wasn't him, was it?
No, that was him playmaking.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have any? Where even is he?
Can I see his stroke?
That was him getting dunked on. Okay, that doesn't really help us.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, well,
he's too
raw
small
prospect.
for that guy.
Can't really tell you much about him. But yeah, no, I've seen him floating.
Yeah,
I mean, he gets dunked on again in the same game. Hey, take him. That's a Sean Marks pick. He's under 6'11".
He gets dunked on a lot. We're gonna take him.
Yeah, listen, like I said, I've seen him shooting up draft boards. If Brooklyn misses out on the 3 main bigs that I like in Sorber, Queen, and Malawak, I could see them going with a high upside guy. And to me, again, just based on his body type and his play style, he doesn't look like he's a 5, which is exactly a Sean Marks pick. So, yeah, let's go with it.
We don't have a 5 now, and we won't have one after draft day. Oh, I guess
Never.
as well that ends well.
Never.
San Antonio is back on the board. We took Yakinchonis earlier.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I can see one of either Nick Clifford or Hugo Gonzalez. It's tough because, again, if Houston goes flag in some world where they win it, they're not getting KD. OKC got Giannis in this scenario, so they're not getting KD. San Antonio and Minnesota are now the 2 teams that could be in on a Kevin Durant.
Hey,
so I think Nick Clifford is a guy that you want to go with here for them. I think that it makes a ton of sense.
If we have the top 3 guys that we want, can't we just trade those last 2 picks, to get?
I don't think they would trade both of them, but I could see them trading that 26th pick for a future
maybe
first.
To get into 26.
Yeah, I could see them trading 26 to get a future first. I definitely don't think they use all 4 first-round picks. So we'll see. I have them picking 3 picks, most likely, potentially 4. But either way, I don't see them all being first-round picks.
Boston's up at 28. Boston? I want you to take this. Boston. I have my thoughts here, but I want to see what you guys think.
Yeah, this is. I've seen him mocked here a lot too. I think that it's a great floor spacer for them. Go Isaiah Evans. I think that he just fits the system of what Boston likes, which is guys who can play defensively and guys who take a aggressive volume of 3-point shots. And that's what Isaiah Evans is. He's a 3-and-D guy with athleticism. I think he fits in really well with Boston and what they're doing. Yeah, they also have the first pick in the second round, so they can go with a guy who's more plug-in and ready to start the second round.
Because eventually I can see them moving off of their, like when Derek White, I can see them moving off of him because, because they can't pay everybody $50 million a year, or $40 million a year. So and I like that guy, the guy with the with the alopecia or the bald guy. What's his name?
Jordan
On
Walsh.
Boston. Yeah, he's really nice to me. I think he's got a lot of skills, so I think eventually he gets more run.
29. We're all at the end of the first round almost. Phoenix again. This team is a disaster. I don't know what they're doing, so I wouldn't even have a guess here. 29. Phoenix is a team in complete disarray. No cap space. Obviously, Kevin Durant would have to go, but they got the Bradley Beal contract. It's a team in really, really bad shape. They're paying those three guys $150 million between three of them, and obviously hasn't worked out. But at 29, I don't even. I'll let you, Dylan. I don't even have any thoughts on this. Yeah.
They probably take Flan or someone like that.
So that's the thing, right? You have to kind of play it out in the scenario of let's just keep it based on the timeline of what we're going with. Houston no longer needs Kevin Durant. They got Flag in this scenario. Giannis to OKC. So San Antonio is not getting Giannis. Phoenix now has two options, Minnesota or San Antonio for Kevin Durant, most likely. Do we do a scenario where it's Kevin Durant here? Now, I'm not saying we're doing a trade for Kevin Durant, but just logically based on this pick, who do you think is the more likely option for Kevin Durant if those two teams are off the board? Is it Minnesota or is it San Antonio that lands KD?
San Antonio's got the better package. I would say San Antonio.
All right, so if that's the case, then you would have to think potentially Stephon Castle's in that, right?
That's
potentially
exactly
Devin
what I was
Vassell.
thinking.
So
Yeah,
to me, I don't think that they go Boogie Fland here. I could actually see them going Hugo Gonzalez. I think that they go with a wing.
Yeah.
I prefer them to go with a big, but if Berenger, Sorber, Wolf, all of them are off the board, it's not worth taking a Maxime Reynaud, I think, in the first round when you could, depending on if you even get second round picks from San Antonio.
Who's their center over there? Who's their center for?
I have no clue. Oh, Nick Richards.
Wow. Because I'm looking at
they have the highest. They are a disaster. Yeah,
I'm looking at Adu Tero too.
Yeah, I mean, he could potentially the injury that he had at the end of the season. He wasn't really able to play in the tournament games. I think that dropped his stock a bit. But yeah, the last pick in the first round. Jesus, this took us an hour and 17. We're gonna go Cam Jones here to the Clippers. Again, I kind of just like this fit for him and what they have going on. Very high caliber scorer, can defend very well as well. It looks like we only did first round actually, so we're
that's my bad. We'll do.
No, we're good. Honestly, I don't mind that because I would rather get more in depth with the picks that we had. I mean, just looking at Tankathon, if you want, real quickly, I'll give out the first 6 picks of the second round, just so this way you guys can see Brooklyn's last pick.
You want to pull up Tankathon?
I'm doing it on my end right now.
Okay.
It looks like, let's see. Timberwolves would start off the second round with Boston, Charlotte back-to-back, Philly, and then Brooklyn. So realistically, with Minnesota's pick, who did we give Minnesota at 17? Give him a Sengun?
Sengun, yeah.
Yeah, based on my board, I would have them go probably Alex Condon out of Florida, the 6'11 forward/center. Again, I think that they just need perimeter scorers and defenders that they can mold into their system that they always seem to do. With Boston at 32, I'd probably have them go Maxime Reynaud as a potential Porzingis replacement if they decide to trade him. He's been comped to Brook Lopez, just a really good defensive rebound.
I like him.
Yeah, so I would have him going to Boston at 32. Charlotte back-to-back. Who did we have Charlotte taking in this draft? Was it Malawak?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Good memory. Malawak.
Yeah, I would have them go Noah Pendo and Boogie Flan back-to-back. And that would leave Philly right before us at 35. They didn't get their pick because it went to OKC. I would probably have them take. It's kind of tough. I mean, do they go with a guy that's win now ready, or do they go with a guy that has some high upside in his youth?
Philly is like Phoenix to me. Like, what are you doing? Like,
they're just in a horrible spot.
Yeah. Like, if I was them, I would just say McCain, Maxey, and total rebuild. Like, I got these two pieces, total rebuild. So I would just take the best in the second round. I'm just taking the guy with the highest upside. But that's me. Yeah, I'm not trying to sway you guys.
Yeah, I know, and that's I mean, I've heard this name floating around a ton. Go, have them go Thomas Haw out of Florida. I think he's a junior or a senior center. Could be good depth to have as an Embiid replacement if he decides to, change his tampon out midseason again. And then at 36 for Brooklyn, I would have them go Bogoljub Markovic. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right whatsoever, but he's a 6'11" power forward. And I'm absolutely loving his film from what I've seen. I mean, if you want to pull up clips from him on YouTube real quick to watch, I really like what I see out of him. I have him as a riser in this class. So I definitely wouldn't mind.
Is that Bogi Markovic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard the Locked On guys talking about him because he just participated.
All right, I don't like him anymore. The Locked On guys are talking about.
Oh no, not the Nets guys.
I don't like him.
No, not the Nets guys.
I'm with it.
Oh no,
right.
not the.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but not the Nets guys. The draft board guys.
Okay,
Barlow,
cool. Okay.
the Barlow brothers out of Texas.
Okay.
So, but they were saying that they said that he looks like an NBA player.
No, he's very versatile for his size. It's Bogoljub, and then Markovic, Markovic.
They said everyone just calls him Bogey.
I was going to name my kid. That was what I was going to name my kid, Bogle.
Real quickly too, while you're getting that ready, I'm gonna because I'll make this for a post later, I guess. What did we do? Pick 3 was Ace.
I got it. It's Carter Bryant. Yeah, it's Ace at 3. We traded Cam Johnson to San Antonio for Barnes and Carter Bryant. We picked up 15. Carter Bryant.
Okay.
And then 20 we took Saraf, and then at
20 was Saraf. 26 was Beringer.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's the homeboy Bogoljub. Let me see.
That'd be a hell of a name to say in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Iron Eagle's gonna have some fun with that if he comes here.
Oh, by far.
Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot was my favorite. That's the best name we've ever had.
I still can't. TLC, right?
Yeah.
I still can't say.
I watched him when he hit threes, and he would go waterfall. Do I have this up? I do have this up, right?
Yeah, they call him Bogey. So it's like a third player named Bogey or something,
Yeah, I think your mom named you Bogoljub. You should just go with Bogoljub. That's your name. Mom named me Bogoljub.
Yeah, I think.
Dude, I don't even know what it sounds like. A bad smoothie.
He's Serbian. He's Serbian, and he said, they were talking about him saying, yeah, he's, so he's got that inner toughness like most of the young Serb kids.
Yeah, I mean, he's quick for 6'11", and he's got a good touch for, at 6'11", most of the time you don't see a guy using speed to find layups. Usually you're seeing them be athletic and dunk the ball. He looks like he's got a really soft touch as a layup finisher, which is pretty surprising to see for a player of his size. He's also athletic too. I mean, he's getting past defenders quite easily. Can he shoot though is the question. Oh, yeah. I mean, that looks fluid. I can't lie. That's not bad at all. I mean, for a second round talent, there's a lot of talks that he could go like really, really late in the first. I just think that there's so much talent on the board that it probably won't happen.
He hasn't declared yet, so he could still go to a school too.
Oh, has it? Okay. I think he'll go in the draft, but that's just me. Oh, you know what I realized too? I don't think we had Addo Thiaro get taken. I would have had Philly take him over Alex Caravan and then us go.
We didn't have him go. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't go in
first
so
we'll
round.
Do Addo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do Addo to Philly at 35 and then Bogo to Brooklyn at 36.
Now, Ian Jackson is still in the portal.
Ian Jackson, yeah, he's officially going back to school.
Okay.
That's set in stone. What school? Who knows? I know St. John's is one of the teams that he's still looking into.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's 1,000% going back to school. Drake Powell most likely going back to school. Let me see if I can find most of the names. Yaxel, as of right now, looks like he's going back to school. Let's see. Pettiford, he's going in the draft. Proctor, draft. Miles Bird, draft. R.J. Lewis, I believe, draft.
I think it's a good chance. I like Pettiford, but I think it's a good chance that he's going to go
think he's too small.
undrafted.
I don't like the.
I think he's going to go undrafted.
Yeah. As of right now, the players that I know that aren't going to be in this draft: JT Toppin, potentially Yaxel, Drake Powell, Xavier Lee, Jameer Watkins, Cedric Coward. I think just hit the transfer portal, so he's out. Carter Knox, most likely not in the draft. KJ Lewis, Cannon Catchings. Bennett Sturts is most likely going back and hitting the transfer portal, so he'll be in next year's draft. Those are the main names that I know of that likely aren't going this year.
I saw Xavier Lee might also go to St. John's.
Yeah, I saw St. John's, Florida, and I believe Duke are his final three.
Yeah, I like his game.
Yeah, it's
very
definitely
good defense.
Yeah, no, R.J. Lewis was definitely. Are we talking R.J. Lewis or Xavier?
No, I say Xavier Lee.
Okay, yeah, no, Lee's solid. I mean, he'll definitely be a good mid-second round pick next year for a team that's still contending. Like realistically, let's say Ja Morant gets traded from Memphis, and they get whatever pieces they get back. Memphis in the second round taking Xavier Lee the year following would definitely be a solid replacement. By all means, he's not a star, and again, 9 times out of 10, a senior doesn't become a star in the NBA, but definitely a solid role player that
because
I would love to see in Memphis.
Some of these teams, they can't have all they can't have all of these guys be hit or miss. Some of them have to just be stable guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I think we've watched a good amount of Bogo here. He's definitely a prospect that I could see being really well here. Do you want to recap the first round mock that we did, if you still have it pulled up?
Yeah. All right. So let me hang on. I got 15,000 tabs open now. Hang on. All right. So, all right. 1, Cooper Flag to Houston. That's our pick. Good job, Sean Marks. 2, Dylan Harper to Miami. 3, Ace Bailey. We got Ace Bailey. 4, Edgecombe to Washington. 5, Trey Johnson to Utah. 6, Maluak to Charlotte. 7, Kneppel to New Orleans. 8, Derek Queen to Milwaukee in the big Giannis trade, if you're wondering how Milwaukee got 8. 9, Jeremiah Fears to Toronto. 10, Yakin Chonas to San Antonio. 11, Colin Murray Boyles to Portland. 12, Austin Newell with a trade with the Mavericks. They end up at 12 with Austin Newell. Great pick for them there. 13, Jace Richards to the Bulls. 14, Igor Demon to Atlanta. 15, Carter Bryant to the Nets. We traded Cam Johnson to get back to 15. Up to 15. Nolan Torrey to Dallas at 16. Noah Assange at 17. Liam McNeely, 18 to Miami. Thomas Sorber, we missed out on, right ahead of us, to Washington at 19. We got Ben Sharaf at 20. What can you tell us about Ben Sharaf real quick? I don't know anything about him. Yeah,
I gave a little brief description of him earlier, but I would say at 6'6", he can play the 1, he can play the 2. In this case, he'd likely be playing the 1. Really high IQ as a playmaker. Very solid knockdown shooter from 3. Very nice touch at the rim as a finisher. I definitely can see a very solid player. Doesn't scream star by any means necessary, but a really good point guard to kind of get us through next year and potentially be a high caliber role player. I could definitely see that.
Number 21 is Will Riley, who I'm certain will end up a net because he's a 6'8" wing who shoots, and he's Cam Johnson.
That was compared to
Yeah, so he's gonna. I'm gonna hate him just because he reminds me of Cam Johnson. 22, Danny Wolf to Atlanta. 23 would be the guy I wanted at that 21 pick, Rasheer Fleming. 24, Walter Clayton to Orlando. 25, LeBron Fillon. Am I saying that right? The point guard from
LeBaron.
LeBaron
Filan. 26 is
Joan Beringer.
Johan Beringer.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Johan
we'll
Beringer.
recap ours real quick. But Nick Clifford, 27 to San Antonio. San Antonio had a hell of a draft. 28, Isaiah Evans to Boston. 29, Hugo Gonzalez to Phoenix. And to round out the first round, Cam Johnson at 30 to the Clippers. So we end up with Ace, Carter Bryant, Saraf, and Beringer.
Yeah.
I don't know much
and then
about
in the second round we would go with Bogo, but yeah, that's definitely how I would ideally see it playing out if they were to use all 5 picks again. To me personally, I think that they probably would have traded 26 and 36 to move up, or they would have just simply traded out of 36 and traded out of 26 for a future first and selected at 36. But I definitely don't see them taking 5 players.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think that is a good move for us.
No, because it takes up too many roster spots. But I mean, at the same time, too, for a year like we are supposed to be going into next year, I would almost prefer it just because I want as much youth as possible to lose games next year, because next year's draft class you cannot fuck around with. Like I've been trying to be much better with my words. Hopefully you guys have noticed, but genuinely next year you cannot fuck around with next year's draft class. You need to land in the top 4. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you land a top 4 pick next year, which by the way we didn't even kind of talk about. I know. Gary, you probably got to head out here shortly, but if you're a draft nerd as I am, the number 1 player in the 2027 NBA draft class, Tyron Stokes, is on an official visit to Kansas at some point this week. That's an indication. He also opted out of playing AAU basketball this summer, which is his senior year of high school, which never happens. So these are all indications that he's looking to reclassify into the 2026 draft class. If he does, you would have 4 number 1 overall superstar ceiling players as your top 4 picks in Darren Peterson, DeBansta, Boozer, and then Tyron Stokes. That would be the best top 4 of all time.
He's the one that they compare to Barkley.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of thick.
It's like Barkley with a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if that happens, we should probably know in the next month or so. If that happens, that is by far the best pre-college top 4 draft class in NBA history. Like, it's not debatable. You have 4 guys who could genuinely go number 1 overall pick in about 9 out of every 10 draft classes. Like, that is unheard of. And if that's the opportunity that you're getting, don't mess it up.
Are you including Ament with that?
No. I mean, I think Ament could be like a solid second caliber option on a team, like in terms of his ceiling. Do I see him as a number 1? No. But I mean, I'm pulling up the list right now. I'm eyeing 18 different players for next year. You got Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansta, Cam Boozer, Tyron Stokes, Nate Ament, Jaden Quinns, Chris Sinek, Elijah Arenas, Darius Acuff, Caleb Wilson, Caleb Gaskin, that Tonda Yasafu guy that was just on ESPN the other day, who looks exactly like Anthony Edwards. Incredible. Dash Daniels, Dyson Daniels' brother, Mikel Brown, Kareem Lopez, Ko Pate, or however you say his name, Isaiah Harwell, and then Braden Burris. Those are 18 players already that I'm listing that I see as like first, like the top 4 number 1 options. 5 through 8, you can maybe dip that into 5 through 10 potential second option ceilings, and then everything underneath that, high caliber role player or third option players in this league. Like, this class, top 20, is absurd, specifically that top 12 range. So again, don't fuck it up. Figure out a way to get another pick next year, and that's it. Like, your rebuild's done. If you land top 4 next year and Tyron Stokes is genuinely in that draft class, you can't go wrong with any of the picks. If you are able to select one of those 4 and have another pick in the 20s next, like in the early 20s, late teens, your rebuild's done. It's over. You develop the guys for 1 more year and shoot for the All-Star the year after. You're set.
Yeah, the cap space.
So to me, it's this has to be the year that you take this shit seriously. I don't care if you don't win a singular game next season. I would genuinely be happy as long as you can land one of those 4 players next year.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I know. Breathe. Gotta get a drink of water now.
Well done, Dylan. Well done. If this is what we walked away with, you guys are thrilled with this. If we get Carter Bryant and Ace, I don't really care what else we get in the draft. We're all happy with this draft, right? I mean, we're ecstatic if this was reality.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I'm like excessively jumping up and down. And the only reason for it, I think you missed out on 3 of the top point guards in Harper, Fears, and Traore. I think you missed out on one of the 3 best big men, and you're kind of taking in a project player that I don't think is going to work out. The second round pick, I'm extremely happy with. Like in this case, honestly, I wouldn't mind trading out of 26 for a pick next year.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
and just bring back Daron Sharp and make it work. Like at that point, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. See, it would be nice if I know you have the Cam. I know you have the Cam Johnson trade, but it would be nice if we could, even use Claxton for an expiring and then just trade out. Use Claxton and our last pick to trade out into 26 or something. To somebody.
Yeah. The problem is that the teams that are looking at Claxton, a lot of them don't have 2026 picks. Like the Lakers being the clear and obvious favorite, they don't have a 2026 first. So it's going to be a bit difficult to get that from him. I think what the Nets should do is, with the amount of draft capital that they have, package up that Philly top 8 pick. It's probably going to land top 8. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Package up that and, maybe even 2 extra first round picks to move to a team for, a 2026 first. I think that the 2026 draft class is that valuable. Like I would give up 3 picks for one that I know is guaranteed to be in the top 18. So hopefully they can figure something out, because as of right now, we've got 1 pick and that's it for next year. I definitely think you need 2 though, preferably 2 that are in the top 18.
And
that's why I've been so adamant. I don't get more picks, get more bites at the apple next year. But Marks has had no sense of urgency. We'll see how draft day goes, and we'll see how this offseason goes. But I would rather trade Cam Johnson for a pick next year than to move up this year, unless you can move up and get something.
That was going to be my next scenario, right? Like, say you get Ace, okay. So do you move pick 27 and 20 to move up to like 14, 13, 12, around that range, and then you pick at 26 and 36? Like, I'm not sure how I would feel about it. It just depends on who you're picking. Like, if you get Flag or Harper, by all means, definitely try and figure out a way to trade up into the lottery, if not just outside of it. But for me, if you miss out on those 2 and you're selecting, say, Fears or Malawak at 6, 7, or 8, you're missing out on Carter Bryant most likely at 20. You potentially are missing out on Thomas Sorber at 20. You're definitely missing out on guys like McNeely and Asengu at 20. Traore, who knows if he's actually there or not, and even if he is, if you went with Fears with that pick, you don't need him. So it's definitely, there's a lot of limitations because of the players who are going back to school. Like Yaxel Lendeborg absolutely fucks up the first round, because I had him much higher than a lot of people were thinking originally, until they started mocking him before he committed to Michigan. So it really just depends. You have to make a move up, though. I would prefer to get off of Cam Johnson's contract. And if there's a world where you can, say you move pick 26 to a contending team that's in the ranges of like 24 through 30 next year, I would even do that. Like, just get an extra first round pick next year by any means necessary, because from there you can work with it. I believe Brooklyn has their second round pick next year as well, which, again, if you're bottom 5 in basketball next year, you're getting a top 5 second round pick. So
who are our 27 picks?
27 picks as of right now.
We don't own our own, but I know we own somebody's.
Yeah, let me pull it up right now.
In what year?
27. Because I'm thinking that's
Brooklyn
something
currently has the Knicks pick unprotected, the 76ers pick top 8 protected, and we have Houston's swap, which is them getting the more favorable pick from us. So considerably, we have a low end first from Houston.
Yeah.
We have potentially no pick from Philly if they're bottom 8, and we have the Knicks unprotected pick. So really not great.
So I'd probably trade that Houston pick if I could.
I don't even know if you could. I mean, we also have Atlanta's second round pick next year. So we have 2 second round picks, actually. So honestly, if there's a world where you can get a late first round pick for pick 26 or 27 this year, you could package up that late first next year and that early second next year to move up to maybe like 20, like anywhere between like 19 and 23. around that range, which again, great spot to be in next year's class. So I definitely see them being able to figure that out. I don't think that's too difficult. And I don't think you'd have to give up too much to figure out a way to get there.
Yeah.
But I would preferably want to move Cam, because if you can get 3 top 20 picks this year, that's a great start. And I think the more youth that you have with the upside that those players have and the development that they need, I think that brings you more losses, which I think puts you in a better position for 26. So
I just got this epiphany just staring at Cooper Flagg's face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, watch if we're fortunate enough to land at number 1 and get Cooper Flagg, this guy will want to keep Cam Johnson. He'll say he's the perfect fit with him, and I'm like, please.
You're not wrong. Can't disagree there. What is interesting though, yeah, we have our own first next year, Atlanta's second next year, and then we have our own second next year as well. So we're gonna have probably 2 top 10 second round picks if Atlanta decides to move off of Trae Young. Then of course we have our own first round pick, which hopefully will be in the top 10. I mean, the fact that I even have to say top 10 with the roster that we have is pathetic. But and then in 2027, I already listed those picks. We also have the Lakers second round pick in that year. 2028, we have our own first, Memphis's second, Atlanta's second, and our own second. In 2029, we have the swap rights, depending on how picks fall and which picks are conveyed between one of Houston, Dallas, or Phoenix. So who knows where that's going? That's nothing to be determined just yet. We also have the unprotected Knicks pick in 2029, along with 4 second-round picks, our own Dallas, Golden State, and Memphis in 2029. So we got 6 picks that year.
Wow. All given up for Zion.
And then in 2030, we have our own first, Dallas, Lakers, and our own second-rounders. And in 2031, as of right now, we have the Knicks unprotected, our own unprotected, and then we also have our own second with the Lakers second. So a lot of moving pieces. Like, listen, if you packaged up 26 and like 3 future second round picks to a team who's in that 20 range on our big board here, if you scroll down to like 20, like say it's at Indiana, I would do that. I don't think Indiana is going to be a contender next year. I don't think that they're anything incredibly special. They struggled this year. You know, if that pick's between 18 and 23 next year, sure, give me that.
Wow. Gary, did you see that report about the owner wanting to get rid of Zion?
I did. Well, we talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
I don't think we have a package for him. You know, if anyone else is interested in him, I just can't. Like, we don't. This is what I'm saying. We're in hell. We have nothing except bad contracts. Like, the best that we can offer you is a bad contract. I mean, it's going to be hard unless you want to move this year's pick, which even I'm against that. Like, I don't see us getting Zion. I don't see us getting Freak. I don't really see us getting anybody unless you want, like, look, even if John Morant, like, let's say Memphis misses out on the playoffs altogether, which is very possible, and John Morant demands out, and he wants to go to Brooklyn. We don't have anything to offer. Like, they're going to want some type of player back because they're still a competitive team. They don't want Cam Thomas. They don't want Nick Claxton. Like, what are we offering them? Maybe Cam Thomas. That's the one kind of piece we would have. But, you know, everyone is so bipolar on CT. I don't know how Memphis feels about it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just, we're in a really, really bad spot. And to me, Zion is a way out of that. At least out of hell. I'm not saying he makes us a competitor or a contender. He doesn't. But at least we're not in hell anymore. We have a direction. Because right now, I look at this team. What's the direction here?
The direction is one more tank year. You need it. Next year's class is too good.
Yeah.
I even said this last year when we were looking at the 2025 class. The 2026 class is the prize. This class is the startup. Like, this is a tune-up to what you could be getting in 2026. If you land top 4 next year, you are getting a bona fide superstar with a like 80% chance of actually becoming a superstar. That's how good next year's class is. DeBansta, likely to be an all-star. Peterson, likely to be a superstar. Boozer, likely to be an all-star. Tyron Stokes, shit, if he reclassifies into next year's class, the kid's going to be 17 playing in college. the development on him with the upside on him screams superstar. So to me, this is not like, this isn't something that you play around with. This isn't like a toddler at a table messing around with food. Go do what you need to do, which is suck major ass next year and be one of the worst teams in basketball somehow. I don't care how you have to do it. I don't care if Jordy has to get fired. I don't care if Cam Thomas needs to get traded. I don't care if every player on the team needs to literally sit out the entire year and we forfeit games. That's how good next year's class is.
Yeah, but
don't mess around with it.
That's the problem that we have, with other Nets fans, is that their loyalty to both Cam Thomas and Jordy seems to go above what you want the team to be for the next 10 years. And I'm like, I don't care about you, man. Just these recent coach firings should tell you there's always going to be a good coach available.
Yep.
There's always going to be a good coach.
And even then, if you look at every NBA roster in basketball that has won a championship over the past 20 years, every single one of those teams, the player is greater than the coach. Steph Curry is more of a superstar than Steve Kerr is. Jokic is more of a superstar than Mike Malone is. LeBron is more of a superstar than Tyronn Lue and Eric Spoelstra. That is a fact. Because look what Spoelstra did with Jimmy Butler. Made it to a finals and lost. Without LeBron, he didn't win. So to me, you really need to get that set in stone top 5 caliber potential player in a draft. And you need 2 of them.
True.
If you can get 2 guys that in 5 years could be potential top 20 players in the league, you've done something properly, because that puts you in a position to where in 2-3 years from today, you could go out and trade for a superstar to finish the puzzle and form a big 3. That's how it works. It's really that simple. And with the assets that you have in terms of draft capital, that is extremely easy to do. And with the market that we have, players are going to want to play here. But you have to get the 2 young guys who are going to be the pieces that, even though you're developing them their first year or 2, even after you get the superstar and that superstar hits the end of his prime or asks out or leaves in free agency, you still have those 2 to build around. You still have 2 top 20 guys in the league to build around. And that's what you have to do. So stay the course. It takes what? We're less than a month away from draft lottery, less than 2.5 months away from the draft night. It will literally take you 450 days from today, and you will be in a better position than you were last year when you traded away Mikal Bridges and got these picks back. As long as you do it properly. It's really that simple. Make me the GM. It's my petition.
You got it. If I could fire Sean Marks right now and hire Dylan, it's a done deal. It's done. Like,
I'd have this team with a championship in 7 years, within 7 years. And I know everybody's like, oh my God, I have to wait 7 years. Dude, you've been waiting your whole life. I've been a Nets fan for 20 years. Like, Gary's been a fan for 30 plus years. LBL, not even sure how long he's been a fan. Probably like
80 years.
There you go. Like, it's just, we can wait 5 to 7 more years if it's being built properly with a better opportunity and window of winning, not just one, but multiple within a 10-year span. I prefer that rather than trying to buy one and still unsuccessfully doing it like we have the past 3 times. It's getting old. It's getting old very fast. So switch it up. Sean Marks, if you're listening, let me do your job for free. You can still get paid.
Lou says that, Pete, you've been a fan for since you were born, so about 10 years.
Ha ha ha. Fucking dinosaur. Yeah, whatever. Listen, I was born in 01, all right? I was born in a messed up year.
I graduated high school in 01. That's when I graduated high school.
That's Lou Carnesecca there.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm glad that I can bring a young, youthful mind that actually knows how to get shit done, unlike Sean Marks.
Yeah. So, while we were on there, Pod Thorn, he hit me back and said, you can find a lot of these games. So I'm going to try to look for some of these full college games so I could actually see some of these prospects play from like the beginning of a game to the end, because I trust that more than I trust just looking at highlights,
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I watched way more college basketball than I did Nets basketball this year by far. So I'd like to think I'm very knowledgeable and where some of these picks should fall, some of the projections, some of the comparisons. But yeah, I mean, I didn't watch any high school ball this year, so I will be all over their highlights over the off season while waiting for college ball.
I think the most recent, I guess it just happened this past week, the Nike Hoop Summit. If those games become available, they said this is just like everything you just said about the draft. They said all of these guys showed up and it was the most competitive. They said it's nothing like McDonald's games or anyone else's. It's like everyone actually went hard because it's USA versus the world and everyone plays hard, you know?
Yeah. Lou, yeah, if you were born in 87, how was the start of the Iraq War? Jesus. I mean, that is just, I was born like in the middle of that thing. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, wait, you're only 14 years older than me. That's not horrible.
I got Lou by 4 years. And
okay.
LBL, I'm gonna make fun of LBL for being old because he's got me by how old are you? Are you in your 50s?
Yo, I told you, me and Mullen were born on the same day. I was born
Chris
in 63.
Mullen. 63. Yeah. So, wow. Okay, you got me by a full 20 years. There you go.
Yeah.
Wait, so what is that? So you're 61?
Yes.
Oh, dang. You got me by a lot. You're old enough to be Pete's granddaddy. Pete. Now I'm calling you Pete. You're old enough to be calling granddaddy. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents are 70, 71, and 75. I got young grandparents. I mean, I'm 23, so.
When I walk into the Barclays, they call me Black Whammy.
You're not that
old.
Oh, man. You're not that old. That guy, how old is Mr. Whammy? He's got to be 90.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, probably.
Like, it's crazy. Like, Bob Arum, the boxing promoter, he's 93, I think. And he's still sharp. He still walks around like it's crazy. Like, I guess 98 when he used to be.
Hey, who do you think is gonna represent us at the dais on the 12th?
If it's Josiah or Sean Marks, just know the organization's screwed. They'll give us like the 8th pick. They should make it Whammy.
There. I think they're gonna put. Oh, I would like Whammy. I think they're gonna put Vince Carter there.
If they put Vince there, then we're getting Ace.
I think it's been all about Vince all season.
Would they be able to do that since he's a Net? Would they be able to do that? Doesn't he have to be officially with the Nets though?
Well, he's an announcer for them. Is that not good enough? Did he work for Yes, not the Nets? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think that would be all right.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that we would have to have the conversation about it is so funny because we haven't seen a lottery pick in 13, 14 years, so we don't even know how this works. Like, this is all new to us.
Never seen a lottery pick.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets streak of not having a lottery pick is rivaled only by the Jets not making the playoffs. That's how long these streaks have been going on.
Yeah, the last lottery I went to was the Zion one, and that was so hurtful.
Let me put this. I've been married for 13 years. My marriage has not seen a Nets lottery pick or a Jets playoff game.
Wow.
13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, I haven't seen a single one of my teams win since 2009.
I haven't seen a single one of my teams win ever.
Yeah. Actually, wait, aren't you a Yankees fan? Or are you a Mets fan?
fan.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I should have known too, because you're a Jets and Nets fans. It's like you guys just automatically attract to the Ets.
Yeah.
That's
what it is.
Well, I mean, I'm all good here. We knocked out the first round.
Man.
Yeah, we'll definitely try and do a couple more of these before draft lottery night. And once draft lottery night happens, we'll definitely have more accurate representations of what could be going on.
I got to check the other bedroom because apparently Lou is my son.
I do gotta wrap this. Dylan, we'll be back on Friday at 12:30. Is that all?
We will be back Friday at 12:30. That should work. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
What are you guys doing? Matchups, playoff matchups, and stuff too, or another mock?
I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out.
We have the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we have the Spurs reporter. Yep.
We have the Spurs reporter on Friday.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back Sunday. Are you free Sunday?
Potentially. I'll have to let you know on that one.
Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, we could do a show. We'll either do free agency or another mock.
Sounds
Does
good.
that work for you?
Yeah,
All right, guys.
we'll figure that one out.
All right. Sounds good, y'all. I gotta go. I gotta run. LBL, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thanks for letting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Always. All right. April 16th. This year's just flying by. 2025 from Texas to the world. Thank you. And God bless.
Later, fellas.